there's a little lag. So don't, even though it says, woo, you are live. We're not quite live yet. It takes a minute.
I'm just going to follow your lead.
Oh, this is perfect. But also the lead is, I always wanted it to be pretty, like, I guess chill is the word, but not really. Because I also envisioned it kind of like if you were at a trade show where all like the networking is happening and you get to be like a fly on the wall of a dinner where like people connect or exchanging of ideas or just information makes sense. So, well, welcome to my love letter. That is a web stream. And where it goes, I don't know. I think we'll stay tuned. You are now part of the ride.
I love it. Thank you for inviting me.
Oh, thank you so much for being here. Okay.
Actually, I kind of invited myself, didn't I?
You know what? Fair. That is fair. And I love it. Right. That's again, part of the show is I wanted to be able to like, it's going to be fun. This is the first time I get to engage with you. And now everybody gets to be part of it and learn some stuff. Big congrats to this lady here. Erica has taken it upon herself to help me get out of my whatever zone. And she's helping me with my little clip posting and just overall like made the graphic for today, just out of the kindness of her heart. So thank you. Erica, you're going to be proud-ish. I'm going to hit the go live button on TikTok. I have no idea how it's going to go. So we're doing things, we're being brave, and we're, I don't know what we're doing. We're just gonna have a good time. We're just gonna have a good time. Oh, did I double post to the P page? I've done that before. Because then I, think I'm, get distracted. Okay. Hello everybody. Are we there? Are we out in the ethers? Love it, Erica. She's all, yes, girl. My person, when I don't know, it's been a week. I don't know about you, Reba, but it's been a week for me and it's only Tuesday. And it's just been an awesome, nice reminder for myself that like, maybe I kind of got a little low this week and was like, does anybody fucking care? But then I was like, no, I actually had a really great guest today that reached out to me that I actually am jazzed to learn some things about because there's a little, as you mentioned, a lot of misinformation, no access to information, or just whatever bias in people's heads about all of this stuff. And my dad, well, he's retired now, but my dad was a patent attorney. So this is also extra.
Oh, amazing.
Because
well, I am not a lawyer.
No, but like it's, I know some of the nomenclature and like, oh, okay, well, how does it maybe pertain to other people or just whatever we're doing in this thing called life. These are the days of our lives, which Reba and I don't even know if that's a show anymore, but welcome.
But I remember it. I'm old enough to remember when it was. So.
Oh, I used to watch it when, I was sick at school, or not at school, but like, from school. There was no Netflix. We didn't have cable. It was Maury and
yeah, I'm pre-Maury time. I'm old enough that the TV used to shut off at midnight. It would play the Star Spangled Banner.
Oh, where you had to be like, hey, do you know where your kids are at 10 p.m.?
We had black and white TVs growing up. One in the living room and one in my parents' room, and that was it.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm old.
No. I wouldn't say old, right? You got to remember, and I talk about this on the show sometimes. I don't know. Wisdom is kind of where I'm getting at, right? It's hard, especially to be a woman in the industry, but any industry, there's a huge, right? Okay, beauty is used as a proxy for health, but we escape too much of that. It's almost like that's another episode, but it's almost like
I like
twice as hard.
But I like. A lot of people, and I had a period in my life where I kind of don't tell anybody how old I am.
Yeah.
I have no problem with it because I am proud of how far I've gotten. I can run circles around most people that are half my age. I mean, I'm in my 60s. I run half marathons. I lift 4 days a week. I'm active. I'm
oh my God, that's
thriving.
So exciting. I had to cancel my gym membership. I think I mentioned the unfortunate layoff of my husband. Mm-hmm. So, you cut back because you don't know where things are going. And it's been super sweet of him and my in-laws. They found like a treadmill and a Bowflex on Facebook Marketplace and like zhuzhed up a little area. So I could still go to the gym, even though that was like how I would get out of the house.
Yeah.
So me and my Bowflex, we're going to learn all the things. We're going to get cut like Reba. Okay, so we'll do all the things like, okay, here's another real introduction, like hello. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to my love letter to the industry that I started as me being upset, basically, that no one was talking about the things that I wanted to talk about in a time where the economy has been the economy. I work at home. I was feeling isolated. I'm a category leader. Paradise Marketing provides all the condoms for basically the entire retail industry. And then this January, we opened up another side to Paradise Marketing, which is the Paradise Pleasure product, which has the customizable RGB LED toys in it. So I've been kind of in this glow up, right? Because of the LED toys. I'm hilarious. And I've invited, the show's almost 3 years, guys, like for real. Like when I put it on StreamYard, not just when I was like blabbing on Facebook Live. So my audience has been incredible, and now part of the audience is supporting this, right? Like Erica's here posting my stuff for me and not letting me give up. So welcome to my rantings into the ether, and then the ether talk back, including Reba Rocket. I don't know if that's your stage name or your real name.
It's my real name.
Oh my God, that's amazing. Yeah. Also, why I couldn't drop my maiden name, right? Tori Titus was like Peter Parker, like Reba Rocket.
It's kind of when I got my Facebook page, my very first Facebook account, I had to send them my license because they kept saying, this is fake, this is fake, this is fake. So I literally had to send my ID.
Girl, she can't look that good and speak that good.
So.
What are you talking about? I'm just kidding. Well, thank you so much for your time. Today's topic, we're going to get a little bit into it. I'm going to let you speak about it, but I just wanted to make mention that this is a 18 and over show. We talk about adult things, and I might use adult language because my husband's French, so that gives me permission to curse in my head. But also we're going to talk about and I get to introduce you, and we're going to learn all this together because this is the first time that Reba and I have been able to connect outside of just like email or Facebook. But most people think piracy is just kind of like, or at least I think I'm like, oh, it's like LimeWire back in the day. Like, does anybody care? Are we like doing Napster? It's not just about that, right? And I think it's a huge, so again, thank you so much for coming to the table. I think there's a lot of things we can all learn. And I think maybe it's a huge gap in information that a lot of businesses, or, small businesses, big businesses, maybe are not aware and not protecting themselves. So it's not just trying to, download HBO and, make sure that it gets whatever you're doing passes turnitin.com, right? With the plagiarism. It's important whether you're a creator, an educator, a retailer, brand owner, just protecting your work is important, whether you feel like it's important or not. So hi, pot, kettle, here we are. So we're going to talk about piracy and copyright infringements, the weird AI-ness that's happening. Like, is it the idea of AI that's being pushed on us, or is it actually AI? I don't know. But also stolen content and misinformation. I also sell condoms, so I'm a big advocate on let me give you access to the information, because there's a lot of funny ones I hear out there in attempting to help people understand how to protect themselves in relationships. Ha ha. Okay. But that also leads me to my condom joke of the week, because sometimes they're funny. All right, are you ready? Why don't condoms get stolen online, Reba?
I don't know. Why don't condoms get stolen online, Tori?
Oh, because they're protected content, which we're going to talk about today, right? This is me like reminding stores, if you haven't been ordering your quick turns there, right? Every store needs to have condoms, and if you don't, let me know. Okay, now the Reba, she is here. Let's do the stuff. Tell me why you're here. How did we get here? I'm just going to give you the stage. Go, girl. Let's go.
Well, I mean, what would you like to know? Do you want to know how my journey started?
Let's just hear your story. Like, how did you personally end up working in copyright infringement and anti-piracy? Like, it's not always maybe everybody's first dream, I would assume.
I never would have thought of it 15 years ago. It was not on my bingo card of careers that I would have chosen. but my entree into the industry is also my meet cute story with my husband,
Oh
because
my,
I was a
okay.
journalist and I was writing a story about how um, pornography and independent films were starting to look a lot alike, and that you couldn't really tell the difference. You know, we had Brown Bunny, which was a Chloe Sevigny movie, and she's an Academy Award nominee, and it was very graphic. I mean, there's actually a blowjob scene. I thought it was a prosthetic, but it is legit an actual blowjob scene. She could have won Best Oral at any AVN show with
That's
that
really
performance.
interesting because I think I also had assumed that.
Yeah, well, then you had at the same time movies like the pirate movie, where it was so good that they took all of the sex scenes out of it and they were selling that video at Blockbuster. So I went to
You remember
AVN.
that. You're right.
Yeah, so I went to AVN to write a story about this, and I had different people that I was going to interview, but I was also taking a class in college, and we happened to be studying copyrights. And Nate Glass, who is the founder of Takedown Piracy, was on the list of people that you could interview. So I scheduled an interview with him, not for my article, but for my class, because I thought this will be great. I'll be able to talk to an expert. Well, long story short, we ended up going on a date. We stayed in touch. And then within a year, we were involved. We moved from New England to Las Vegas. And for years, he watched me work for other people and work long hours and give of myself, and with basically no reward. And I went to him one day and I said, I'm going to come do this for you. And we've never looked back. That was 8 years ago. And yeah, so thank you. And it was not an easy entree, because from the industry, Nate was very well known. He's been in the industry for 30 years. He started Takedown Piracy 18 years ago. And I knew that there was
Hi,
going to,
Nate.
he's,
Thanks.
he can't hear you.
That's okay. You'll see it in the clip later.
He'll see it in the clip, and I'll tell him you said hi. But I knew there was going to be an uphill battle to prove myself, because I knew the immediate reaction from some people was going to be, oh, how cute, he gave his girl a job.
Mm.
So I had to work harder, longer, learn more, present more, and gain that trust and respect from the industry, which has been incredibly gratifying. It was not as challenging as I thought it was going to be. And now, I mean, I eat, breathe, sleep, live copyright enforcement. We've had to designate 2 rooms in our home where we're not allowed to talk about piracy, because
You're so ingrained into it.
we're just rabid when it comes to, what are
Right.
we going to do next, and how can we fight this next, and what did we find out this week, and what are we seeing? We'll go to an anniversary dinner, and within 5 minutes we're talking about work. So it is really our life in so
Yeah,
many
it
ways.
sounds like you need to be writing off those dinners if you're not already, right?
Probably not the anniversary ones, but the actual
Okay,
business
but
ones
yeah,
we do.
right, but
Yeah, we're kind of we're one of those families where we don't fudge on taxes or anything. That we cross our T's and dot our I's and make sure everything's legit, because the last thing anybody wants is the IRS knocking at your door. That's a
that'd
whole
be
nother show, though. Yeah, that's
no,
another
that
show.
would be a great show because I do encourage businesses to start, right? And if it's with your spouse, even better. But I'm sure there's a lot of pros and cons that come to that, or come with it, I would think. So quickly, because we just got to meet, I also have not quite as an adorable story as you. But my husband was in the adult retail side before I was. He was working, he was store manager, and then made it up to corporate for Fascinations, which you might know about from. I don't know that they have a location in Nevada, but they're in Arizona, I think part of Colorado, maybe El Paso. Question mark? Maybe they have.
It's my hometown.
Yeah. So, it was one of the stores with the big early 2000s wave of changing the space from, it used to be like coin operated girl, right? And then you put the coin
Yeah, the
in.
peep shows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they had to transition, with the times to more of a boutique wellness center. And then he got recruited to move to California, which is where my part of the career began with a lubricant company. And then I ended up working there for 9 years.
Yeah.
And then at the end of 22, moved into condoms because I figured lube and condoms go hand in hand. But wow, are they different just because you're talking to a Fortune 250 company. You're not talking to, Wicked or System Joe, right? Where they just run on a different model. So
Sure.
that's how we are. Look at this. I love this. Anybody else out there? You have like cute couple stories of how you got into the industry? That could be a whole other segment.
Well, the cutest part of the story is he was my first interview, and then I had not seen him for several days. And when I went to go pick up my red carpet badge for the AVN Awards show, the girl knew it was my first AVN, and she asked, well, who would you like to take you? Because I told her I didn't have a date. And I said, I kind of like that Nate guy. Well, she excused herself and she's texting, and I'm thinking, well, that's rude. I'm waiting for my badge. And she comes back over and said, Mr. Glass would like to take you to dinner in the AVN Awards. Can I give him your number? So,
oh my God, that's
right
so
place,
sweet.
right time. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. So what side of this business specifically kind of piques your interest other than the cutie patootie husband?
Yeah.
And now part of your life. Was there something, because it seems like you've carved your way into your own niche here, right?
So I'm
I'm
very fortunate. My father was beyond ethical. His morals were beyond reproach. He stood up for what was right, no matter what, no matter who he had to stand up to. And we were raised that there's no gray, there's right and wrong. And when it comes to copyright enforcement, if you've produced a piece of content and somebody takes that from you, it's theft. And if they're monetizing it, that's money out of your pocket. And so I really draw upon that sense of right and wrong. And I really do care, because men and women are giving it's work. I mean, you hear sex work is work. It is work. But they are giving it's a different kind of work, because sure, you're an artist, you can make a painting. They are their painting. They are giving themselves. And so it's so much more personal and so much more intense, I think, because it's their likeness that's being stolen. It's their creations that are being stolen.
It's I mean, what we do is very intimate, but like now add another layer of like, no, there's just what you see is what you get intimacy.
Yeah.
No, I love that. I feel like it's almost like Taylor Swift. She got so mad when her stuff got sold out from underneath her. Again, I'm not even a big deal, but if someone wanted to take my content and didn't even like, hey, Tori, I'm going to use this for something, I'd be like, who you? Like, where have you been? Join the live or do something. Be inspired, but don't go take food out of not just my like don't take money out of just my pocket. Like, I got kids to feed.
And I mean, this is something that really kind of manifests the very first time I spoke with Nate. It never occurred to me that if I was watching something on the internet that it could be stolen, that it could be illegitimately posted. I just never, it's on the internet, kind of like the radio. You turn the radio on, there was that same sense. And people who would consume content on the internet that was pirated, they would never walk into a store and stick a DVD under their coat and run out. But there's that disconnect. And so it became even more important because there was a tangibility that was missing from that sense. And so it became even more important to me to be able to add that layer of protection for people.
Okay. Would you say that was like one of the most surprising things? Like, we don't know that not that it's just work, but like people don't realize that it's not stolen, or was there more surprising things to talk about?
Girl, I'm surprised every day by something, but I think realizing my own naivete about copyrights and who owns what and what, I was a morning show radio jock, and we used to watch movies in between the break, during when the music was playing. And it never occurred to me that we were watching them without the consent of the company.
Just where you had access, right?
We just had access. And so I think well-meaning people just that are ignorant will pirate content unwittingly. But I think there are far more nefarious entities that are absolutely invested day and night into stealing other people's content and monetizing it for themselves.
Would it be fair to say that's especially prominent in the adult industry or the sex worker industry?
I think so. Yeah, because sadly, in spite of the protestations of governments about, copyrights, when it comes to sex work, there is a little bit of that slut shaming. And we see it particularly in social media. They're gone are the days when social media fully complied with the DMCA. They will remove content, but one of the tenets of the DMCA is what's called a repeat infringer policy, which means if we've notified you 3 times, we've removed it, they post more, we've removed it, they post more. That third time is supposed to result in the canceling of that account, the termination of that
Yeah,
infringer.
it's like strike three. You
We
didn't
don't,
put in your appeal or whatever. We're going
yeah,
forward with the motion.
I think, particularly since January of 2025, we're seeing less and less investment from social media. And, look, Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk are tough to go up against. And so it is really wreaking havoc on the industry. And it's very easy to post content on places like Twitter. They allow full length videos. And so, yeah, I think it is. I don't have statistics, but anecdotally, it does seem, and let's be real, the amount of adult content that is produced is mind-boggling. I mean,
Yeah, I was
I
almost
keep,
thinking like how not saying that the Zuckerbergs and the Elon Musk like they should and could do better, but also is it part of this culture I'm seeing where it's like we're just gonna hide behind some processes and then it's like all too much and then it's like how could you ever expect anything or anyone to do anything, right?
I think it's more of, they allow it. I think they're complicit. And
Yes. Yeah.
frankly, again, I'm not a lawyer. I would love the
It's
thing
not a
about the
legal show at all, right? This is all
well,
anecdotally. No,
the
no. Yeah, we're
I mean,
check your facts, guys.
I'm an expert in copyright enforcement, but I'm not an attorney. So anything I say is not legal advice. It's just my experience after doing this for almost a decade. But they are complicit. And I think individually content creators only have so much power. I think when you consider the enormity of the adult content creator community worldwide, I actually think there could be some differences made. I'm not sure what that looks like. I'm not sure if it's the form of a class action lawsuit, or maybe they have a blackout day and say, we're not going to,
Yeah, like we're not creating today or whatever.
but, I don't know what the answer is, but it's definitely,
But there has
all
to
you have.
be a different way, right? Something at some point has to give. Question
Yeah,
mark?
I mean, the Digital Millennium Copyright Act, the DMCA, is from 1998. That's almost 30 years ago.
I'm
It
all
is,
like, yeah, like insert, like, wow.
and the internet has changed vastly since 1998.
The
We
internet's changed
have
in
a,
6 months.
we have a much older, at least in the United States, our legislature is generally an older generation, an older community. They are not that internet savvy. They don't have, we watched an entire congressional hearing on piracy and they kept saying privacy. There's such a disconnect and such a, again, it's that tangible, well, it's not something you can hold, so how is it stolen? And so and then you have the whole worldwide aspect. The DMCA is a United States law, and we're very lucky that so many countries do comply. But Russia doesn't care about US law any more than I care about Russian law or the Seychelles or Costa Rica. So unless and until there is some sort of international governing body with actual power, it is an incessant fight against that pirated content.
Yeah. Wow. Right. It's been a minute since anybody, right? The 1998. Thank you, Erica. It's not that long ago, but it's long in terms of the internet. I was just reading some articles of how, just the algorithm has changed in
Mhm.
less than 6 months, right? It's all user generated content and whatever else, right? It's like just flip of a switch and things have changed. It's crazy. Sorry, I'm like digesting that. See, you learn so many good things. So many good things. Okay, so since the company's been doing it for what, 18 years, you were saying? A long time. Tip of the hat to you guys. There's not room for people like me or businesses without people like you and everybody in my audience, you know, paving the way, starting something, having a conversation. So
if you had a store like Target, you would not just leave the doors open and let people walk out with your product. What you create, I mean, the content you create is your product. And so if you're just leaving the doors wide open, then you can expect more is going to get stolen. Is it are the metal detectors or the tag detectors or the loss prevention specialists at Target perfect? No, but it's a lot less than if they just left the doors open and didn't put,
no joke,
tags on everything.
Oh. Do you think that's kind of like maybe some of the bigger changes you've seen on how the content is stolen, right? Is it all social media, or have they come up with some other fun, tricky ideas?
Anywhere that you can post content, you'll find copyrighted stolen content. I mean, piracy doesn't have like a favorite place where it sits. I have seen a great increase in the kind of piracy that is on social media, particularly because places like Twitter allow full length scenes and they have no problem with explicit content. And not to go off on too much of a tangent.
Right, he's big freedom of speech, freedom expression.
Yeah, but you know what? Freedom of speech doesn't mean that you can steal. That is not, I mean, I know I hear all these people, the internet wants to be free. Well, then go create your own content. If you're stealing, you're stealing. And,
that part.
you know, the thing is, there's this big push right now for age verification, right? Everywhere you hear age, you know who's they're not going after for age verification is Twitter. And you can open Twitter, there is no barrier to entry, and you can see all kinds of things. And I don't kink shame and I don't judge what consenting adults want to do. I don't think a 12-year-old should be able to open the internet and see some of the things that I see there every day. So yeah, I think the internet is doing some real damage and there's not a lot of guardrails.
No, right? Or I don't know if you've been, or even care, or anyone's been following, but all the stuff with Roblox, right? I have kids. I was listening to how the CEO is going to react to these things because there's a shit ton of grooming happening in Roblox, and so they put out all this like AI stuff to help protect everybody, and then come to find out they're like taking pictures of the kids now, which I'm not okay with, and then scanning them and being like, my 12-year-old has this face. Right? People were pouring me wine at freaking Olive Garden by the time that I was 15 because I just have looked 40 for my entire life. But that's why I'm like, okay, so now you're going to assume that she can go have 17 and over content. This is just my example. It didn't happen, but yeah, that's just the security and the internet and the piracy and I don't know.
Well, and remember that
and all this stuff. It's crazy.
The internet has different types of sites. There's, search engines, and then you've got torrents and file lockers and social media and tube sites. And then you've got, I don't know if I would actually call them social media. I think they kind of are, but then you've got places like YouTube and Reddit. And as more and more of these places open up, it's more and more of places where pirates can post and monetize your pirated content. So we are spinning plates.
Do you have anything better to do? I wish I had all that time and attention, like some of the things I'm seeing in my HOA Facebook group, right? It's like, oh, it's so great that is my priority, but also you're like, it's been the third time and nothing's happening, and also it kind of sucks that it's so much and not going, it's not being addressed. It's kind of like, hello, I'm doing the steps. We're trying to communicate, and we've submitted all the paperwork, but nobody's doing anything. That's frustrating. I'm frustrated for you right now. Let's be frustrated together, people. Not that I know what the answer is, but I still think it's a good place to just kind of reflect and right? There's no right or wrong way, at least in my opinion right now. Not when it comes to piracy, but like, how are you going to do what you're going to do in your business to help make it a safer place for
Yeah, I
anybody
mean,
who's working?
there is a right and wrong way. And I mean, like I said, listen, the copyright is a law in the United States. It means ownership, right? You own what you've produced. And there are things you can do. I think that it's this sort of game of chase, because with so many pirates posting pirated content, the content creators are trying to figure out how to keep up. But the first line of defense, the very first line of defense, is making sure that you have a what's the right word? A legitimate copyright service that
Mm-hmm.
is tried and true. There are ways that you can do due diligence to find out if what they are telling you is true. Just to give you two examples of that. Um, an owner of a DMCA service just a couple of months ago posted this video on his Twitter, and it said, "Thank you, Google, for naming us #1 DMCA service in the world." And Google literally responded on, if you look at Google, if you were to search, they said, even though XYZ company claims that we rank them #1, that's not a thing. Really easy to find out. Do your due diligence. There are
Just because the
companies,
internet said it does not make it true, even though that's what the internet believes.
right? There's companies on their website, it'll say 100% search results removals. But you go look at their Google transparency report, and it's like 50, 60%. Do your due diligence. There is a whole thing now, because one of the things my company hammers into people is there is a difference between reported and removed. Anybody can report a link for removal. It is the removal that matters. And
Yeah.
so I recently heard a couple of DMCA services say they proactively submit these links to Google because it makes their clients happy, and that there's some sort of, that's not a thing. It's either in Google's index or it's not. And if you look at the two companies who claim that, one of them, only 60 something percent of what they issue to Google for removal is even in Google's index. And the other one, it's 42%. If 40%, if 60% of what I reported to Google wasn't even in Google's index, I would shut my doors.
Dude, if
Because
60% of what I reported to my boss wasn't heard or listened, like, forget it. Like, what am I doing here?
well, and
That's
there's
awful.
another piece to that that's very important, is that can be emblematic of a DMCA service either not knowing or not caring what they're doing. And you might say, well, who cares if they report 100,000 links and only 40,000 come down? The problem with that is, if they are having those lower removal rates, they are usually associated with the same DMCA services that are issuing notices in bad faith. So if you're a content creator and you've ever worked with a studio, or you've done a collaboration, or you have your own legitimate content posted in legitimate places, they will get those links removed from Google, which wreaks havoc. It ruins your SEO. It
Yeah.
creates friction with the people that you've collaborated with or the studios that you've shot with. And it's also a way to potentially get sued. And the loss, the fines for illegitimately removing content using the DMCA can be in the six figures. So
Wow.
it's
That is
serious.
really eye-opening. I always just assumed it was a whole ploy to like, nope, you got to spend the Google money for Google and the SEOs, right?
Um,
Wow. That's super eye-opening. Do you think consumers, right? Considering you've just opened my eyes to a lot of things, so I'm setting you up for a fun answer here, but I want to hear it. Do you think consumers understand the emotional impact that piracy has on creators?
so I think there's a few different buckets. I think there's those that know but don't care. If the internet's shown us anything, it's how many unkind people are in the world. So
Unfortunately.
there's that bucket. There's the bucket of people who know, but they excuse it because for whatever reason. They don't want to pay, or it should be free, or there's that slut shaming component, right?
Yeah,
And
whether
then
they say
there's
it
the
or not, there's always a narrative in someone's head. You might not know what it is,
exactly.
but there's a narrative.
And then there's the people like me that just don't know. They just have that association just like they would with the radio, that they turn it on, it plays music, they can listen. The difference is radio stations are paying, you know, to license that music for that period of time. And so the
Yes.
artists are getting paid for it. That doesn't happen when something gets pirated and thrown up on the internet. The only people that make money from that are the platforms
Yeah.
and the pirate.
Yep. 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 Man, it's crazy. You just connected a lot of dots for me in just a different way. It's just so we got to talk about, yeah, sorry, I'm still hung up on my like talk about the not that we needed to talk about, but now I just need to say it out loud. I do talk about on the show how sometimes there's not just a stigma in the industry of doing anything intimate or adult. Add the fact that you may be female presenting, but right, a lot of people haven't been able to get Paradise Marketing. All of a sudden, one day they removed the workers' comp out of nowhere because they found out that we sold condoms. You know, sometimes I hear other stores have a hard time getting access to fair merchants, and you know, Visa will just drop them because for whatever reason they found out you're adults and they don't want to mess around with this. So there's a lot of hurdles in getting the information and the access and feeling legitimate. Again, I'm speaking from my experience, but feeling like what you do is worth mentioning and being heard. And yeah, it's all maybe part of the slut shaming. We'll go back to that, where it's let's add another hurdle if you are one of the people, you know, doing the right thing, going out there, making your content, whatever it is. Yep, it is the same since Napster, but somehow it hasn't been solved, right?
Well, again, because there is no international governing body. And, you know, when you talk about going after a company like Meta or Twitter, that's that's not just daunting. Financially, it's impossible for most people. Just to retain an attorney to go after them can be exorbitant and cost prohibitive. So I think first and foremost, there has to be governing bodies that know what they're governing. And I think has to be the cooperation of the platforms. There have been some things throughout the years that have sort of given platforms a free pass, like Section 230, where it says, you know, the platform's not really responsible for what people upload. I think that's horseshit. I think that, you know, if you have a store and you let somebody come in and sell fentanyl, you should probably be responsible for what happens to the people that buy that. I feel the same way. And I mean, I didn't really have a great analogy, so I just kind of pulled that one out
Oh,
of, you
it's
know,
fine. We love
but,
bad analogies and off the cuff spots.
but
Okay.
you know, it's just unfortunate that there is not a consensus, and there's not, and then you also have bad entities out there that are issuing bad faith notices, or you know, that are more part of the problem than the solution. So it's going to have to be a coordinated, calculated effort, involving large groups and governments. But in the interim, it's like police work. We have law enforcement in every city in the United States, I would think, but crime hasn't stopped. You know, we've had, you know, there's the death penalty, there's still murderers, there's still, you know, there's all kinds of things that just because you have an enforcement agency does not mean that behavior will stop. But not having those enforcement agencies in place means that you have just said, okay, here, take all the
Yeah,
work I
it's an
did.
open invitation.
Yeah, have fun with all my work. I hope you make money, because I'm not.
Very damned if you do, damned if you don't sort of scenario.
I think it's more damned if you don't. I think
Yeah.
if you do something, you're at least proactively taking some ownership in your success.
Yeah, that hold mentally. I feel like I'm in control. Whether you are or not, it's so important for your being, especially being a creator, right? Like
Oh,
I don't
yeah,
know.
the mental health component of piracy is enormous.
Yeah, right. Again, I'm not that cool and I'm not that popular, but people out there are, and that is their livelihood. I can't even imagine. Um, are you seeing more issues with the good old AI? Hi, mom. Sorry, this is actually my mom.
So,
She just commented.
hi, Mom. So AI is an interesting component, and I will freely admit I am leaning on the negative opinion of AI in general. I think
Go
there are
on.
some great applications for AI. Using it for certain protocols in one's office or to calculate things or to figure some things out. We certainly use AI in our company in a multitude of areas.
It's my new
Where
Google.
AI crosses the line for me is, for example, we have some clients and AI companies have taken their look, their voice, their mannerisms, and created entire fake accounts that will chat with clients 24/7, or the client can go, "Oh, I want to see you in a red bikini." Boom, it spits out the red bikini. That to me is infuriating. And I'm, the adult industry is kind of in this weird place where they're not really sure how they feel about it because there's groups that are AI, AI, AI. And let me tell you, if they sponsor a show, they are going to be held out as an expert, period, full stop, whether they are or not. They're going to be held out as community leaders, community figure. It's Meanwhile, they've got their hands in the pockets of content creators because they're stealing their likeness, they're stealing their mannerisms, they're stealing their voice. And so I think we're not quite yet in the place where it's done enough damage for people to really start caring. I think we're getting close.
But
The,
it could very quickly.
the problem with that is there is no really clear precedent in terms of legally of where that line is crossed.
The
There
AI
are
Wild West.
100%, that's the term I use all the time.
Really?
Um,
Is it because we're both? Because I'm from Arizona and you live in Vegas now?
I mean, possibly we're desert girls, but
Right? I was like, oh,
I
the Wild
think,
West.
honestly, I think anybody with shit for brains can figure out that if somebody can copy to a T anything and sell it, that money's coming out of your pocket. And
Mm.
so it's going to be interesting to see. I do uh, wonder if these people are going to become the enemy of the adult industry, because I even heard I'm going to use this term loosely, a gentleman
We're
who
taking
has,
dramatic liberties.
yes,
Everybody.
he has an AI company, and he made comments on an article about, well, AI girls never say no. There's nothing they won't do. They don't sleep. He posted on in an industry thread, kind of bragging about his AI. He had nudified, means he took the image of a person and made them naked. It happened to be Farrah Fawcett, and was absolutely unapologetic, because they
I'm
just
just gonna.
because
That's
somebody is in,
gross. That's
it's
gross.
disgusting.
Why we gotta tell people how to behave? Where's your mom, people? Where's your mom?
Well, Nate and I have a saying. We say money talks, ethics walk.
Ooh.
And it's unfortunate. And I make jokes that, if there's some nefarious entity out there, all they have to do is sponsor a show, buy a banner, buy an ad in the magazine. And I don't, listen, I'm not hating on the adult industry platforms. I have a lot of love for them. I was a community ambassador for one of them for 2 years. But that doesn't mean I can't call out when I see something that is negatively affecting the industry. And
In
I
fact,
do
I
think,
don't know. If you were in my team, I would encourage it. There's a lot of times I will go down my own rabbit hole based off just what I know and my experience. You need people in your corner to kind of give you a new perspective.
well, I think there's a little bit of an incestuous relationship when money changes hands, and the same people who take that money are the same people awarding the awards. Even if it's a community vote, I'm not so sure how, I don't have any evidence one way or
I don't
another
think
other
anybody
than
knows,
people
right?
talking. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
you hear things, I take it with a grain of salt, but I think until there is a time when companies can invest in advertising in adult platforms separate from the awards, separate from being held out as experts or good guys. I'm not
Yeah,
going to
the
mention the
model
name.
now as it stands, why would we do that, right? That doesn't make sense for my
Yeah,
P&L.
they're community figure of the year. They got female empowerment award. Of course they're good. Meanwhile, they're running ads on your pirated content and you don't get any of it and they refuse to remove it. So you
That's
got to
gonna make
open your
me
eyes a
feel
little.
all sorts of feels, right?
I'm sorry.
I said that would make me feel all sorts of different feelings, right? Like,
It
you
should
know,
infuriate
and
you.
yeah, that's why I was like, okay, am I worth it? Am I not worth it? Why are you using this and then doing that? Like, yeah, all sorts of confusion, possibly shame, and then infuriation and anger, but
I mean,
also not a lot of tools and resources to talk about it.
it's one of the things that we do in copyright enforcement is we always try to employ the assistance of advertisers, web hosts, or ad networks when a site will not comply with the DMCA. It can be very effective because an ad network can pull their ads and then they can't monetize it or they'll have to go to some crappy service. Web hosts will straight up tell people, we're going to shut you down if you don't remove this pirated content. But, recently, we're not beholden to anybody in my company. We are not in bed with anybody except our clients. We want our only focus is protecting our clients' content.
And that's a
We
beautiful business position to be in as someone who's
uh,
worked for
it,
private equity firms.
I
Uh,
wouldn't have it any other way because I
yeah,
can't work if my hands are tied by being beholden to somebody. We recently were able to get a huge CAM platform to start cooperating with us because every time we went to a trade show, every time we commented on something on a platform, we named them. So and so is running ads on your pirated content and there ain't nothing in it for you. Now, they don't all do it. There's some that we send them every day. Hey, we found your ad on this pirated content. They don't feel they make, well, we can't know where all our ads are. Well, we just told you.
yeah,
It's on this piece of pirated content. They do not care. Money talks, ethics walk. And I guarantee you they're award-winning companies.
that's a lot of food for thought. So who's at most risk right now? What makes you super vulnerable? And maybe what can somebody do about it?
Sure. Anybody who posts any type of content, pictures, videos, music, stories, choreography on the internet is vulnerable. The girl at my gym at the desk, she's not even in the industry. She's just a girl that has an Instagram page. Somebody ripped her whole page and created a fake account. So if you put content on the internet, chances are it's going to get stolen. What you can do about it is be very proactive. Um, a company like mine, for example, we have something called digital fingerprinting. We capture tens of thousands of tiny little visual data points from one end of the video to the other and across the entire image. And we're finding content on the internet based on those visual data points where other companies might be typing in your name. Great. Spoiler alert, not all piracy includes your meta search data. It might not have your name on it. It might
Yeah,
say
or they switched your name. You put some dollar sign
more
where a
often than
word
not,
was.
it's hot blonde with a dildo, brunette with big boobs, two guys and a girl, ABC 123. So having a company that is seasoned and has that type of technology. I've heard a couple of companies say, we do facial recognition. Cool. Spoiler alert, not all content has your face in
I was
it.
gonna say, yeah, cool. How
Or
do you
body scan. Well, I haven't seen that in action the way they claim that it's working. What I do know is that if you are capturing the exact visual data points of a video, it's like the match game. Remember when you were a kid and you flip over the cards
yeah,
until
yeah,
you,
yeah,
that's exactly what our system does. So we are finding exact pieces of content based on those digital fingerprints. And that's
Like
a game changer.
yeah, I was like, I feel like I read several stories on another large company that tried to hide underneath the, oh, we did facial recognition and blah, blah. We uploaded documentation and everybody's legal and of age, and they were not.
The other thing that you can do if you're a content creator to protect yourself, listen, there's small things that you can do that altogether are helpful, but they are not foolproof. It's not a bad idea to have your watermark on your content, but pirates will sometimes crop that watermark out. There's some really cool new technology called forensic watermarking. Depending on who you use, it can be pricey, but there are some good options out there. And what they do is every time a piece of content is downloaded, it gets a unique code. So when a company like mine finds it, you can backtrace it, find out which person downloaded it and shut them down. Or
That's
go
fun.
after them. You know, if you've got a good attorney, you can actually go after them and say, here's the evidence, you stole it.
Oh my
And
God,
just
how weird am I?
one,
Like, that sounds fun. Like dishing out justice, even though I'm not God. Like, I
and the
found
thing
you.
that's
You thought
so
you could hide from
crazy,
me.
you can have one person steal one video and put it on one platform. And within 24 hours, it's like popcorn. It's everywhere. Because
Oh man.
pirates don't just steal from content creators, they steal
They'll
from
steal
each
from other
other.
pirates, right? It's kind of
100%.
I'm reading the guy who wrote The Tipping Point. He has Revenge of the Tipping Point, Malcolm Gladwell, and he's talking about super spreaders, right? And that's like total even though that might have been not what he was talking specifically, he was talking about
Yeah.
social super
It's
spreaders.
applicable.
That's a super spreader right there
Yeah,
for sure. Holy
absolutely.
moly.
Yeah. And you know, the other thing is, um, this is so important. If you if you do collaborations with other content creators, make sure you have in writing who owns the content, where that content can be posted, where it can't be posted, and what happens when shit goes south. Because I have seen even married couples part ways and my phone starts ringing. She posted it here and they're not supposed. I can't use the DMCA to resolve a collaboration dispute. So protect yourself by making sure you have everything in writing. Also,
That's huge. Light bulb moment for
keep
anybody collaborating.
copies. Make sure
Yeah.
you have copies of everything that you've created as well. Get an external hard drive if you need to. But I often hear, especially with OnlyFans, they'll upload their content and then delete it from their phone. OnlyFans doesn't let you just capture that back when you're ready.
Mm.
That's not something that you're able to just do. And so having a good record of what you own is really important, especially if you're going to work with my company where you can digitally fingerprint that content. I mean, also not for nothing. I mean, this doesn't have anything to do with copyrights, but just side note, good
Life
advice.
experience. Yeah.
Yeah. Say you want to take a year off and you've got 3 years of content, make compilations and throw them up on a clip store. You've got all that content. It's
Yeah.
already done. You can
And
rotate through it.
supposedly YouTube likes that when you smash like a part one and a part two, and then you get extra. This is things I just started learning. You get extra whatever from YouTube if you're monetized. Not that I am, but then because people just fall
Yet.
asleep with things on YouTube. Yet, you're so sweet. Yet, yes. You hear that TikTok? I did the thing. But right, no, it's very no. It's, a lot of things have been really super eye opening. Thank you for sharing your experience and just like your life wisdom. Is are we scared? Should we be scared? Well, all these pieces, right? So we're working on protecting ourselves, and we're working on making the right choices and doing your thing, right? Feed your people because we all need to. How scared should we be about the upcoming AIs and privacy wars and age verifications?
I mean, you know, I'm not one to live in fear, but I am one that I'm somebody who believes you should be prepared. There are a lot of things coming at the adult industry, whether it's, and for the record, I believe that there should be something that prevents children from watching adult content before they're ready. So I'm not anti AV. I'm anti AV not being applied to places like Twitter as well.
Oh no,
But
same. I have hours I haven't finished yet to get my sexual educator accreditation because
mm,
condoms became so much more personal and integrated, and I was getting a lot of different questions. And I'm with a group of other people, and they're just talking about how they don't want to not take jobs, but they have to not take jobs because they don't want to talk to anybody under 18 because it just puts
sure.
such a different filter and spin on their education because a lot of places wouldn't allow you to talk about your options as far as
I
like
I also think there's an issue with the current legislation or current legislators in the UK, in the United States, seem to be turning toward a more puritanical approach.
oh, we're Quakers
And
again.
there is, this it's like we're in a battle, but it's coming from all different sides. Copyrights and protecting your content and piracy, that's just one piece of what we need to not be afraid of, but arm ourselves against. It exists. I mean, we put locks on our doors, we lock our cars. We don't not live in a home or not drive because we know that there's scary things out there. And I think it's the same thing with copyright enforcement and anti-piracy and content creators. Just do everything you can that's smart, because it's going to happen, but it might be the difference between whether or not you can have a career and make great money doing what you do, or if you just, want to spend your life making content for other people to monetize without your involvement. I don't work for free, so
I
that's not.
mean, we do live in a capitalistic society,
Mhm.
so I feel like the whole something that we're not going to talk about whatever that part of the world right now, but in theory, right, if you see a market, you should be allowed to sell to that market, right? You should be able to make a business to serve that missing need, a gap you can find.
Yeah.
This has been a great show. I have like 18 more questions I wish I could ask you, but
Well, we,
I
we
need
can
to
do a
go.
part two sometime.
Yes, let's do a part two. Because I would love that because like maybe in July after one of the trade shows, because then I'll have like more fun information and more stuff that's
Sure.
happened and it's gonna be great. I will reach out on that later. But I do want to ask at least like one or two rapid fires. And then I'll give you the shameless plug time and everyone can find out where to find you.
Sure.
And then this will be it's already been an hour, guys. Whew, that went by fast. It always does, but maybe because I'm like learning. It's not that I'm not always learning, but I'm like, damn,
Well,
some of this stuff
I would feel terrible if you were like, oh my God, it's only been 30 minutes.
that wouldn't really make me a good host though either, right? I mean, like,
True.
yeah,
You got to be
okay, we're done.
diplomatic. Sure.
I am a Libra, so we tend to be a September Libra, not an October Libra, right? We're a little diplomatic, but we love to dish out justice. We're able. Hey, don't sass me. What's one internet trend that needs to be escorted out immediately?
Twitter allowing full length videos
That's a huge one.
of pirated content unabashedly ad nauseum, ad infinitum needs to go.
Oh, done. What's more dangerous, a bad password or a bad ex?
Ha ha ha. I'm not a password expert, but I've had some X's and yeah, and it's one of the things we do with our company because sometimes an ex will take that content and use it as a revenge porn. We do not charge. If you are truly a victim of revenge porn, our company does not charge for our services. We'll still digitally fingerprint it. It can't be regret porn.
There's a
If you
difference.
woke up one day and you're like, oh, I wish I hadn't done this, I get that, and I always try to give people a pep talk and say, listen, you didn't do anything wrong, you didn't break the law, I get it, but quit beating
Yeah.
yourself up.
Here's
But it's
here's yeah, here's tools.
right, but if it's truly revenge porn, we do not charge for that service at all.
That's huge. Like blast it from the mountaintop for anybody that needs that. That's a
Well,
huge like
ironically, when Exodus Cry was on their big, oh, Pornhub is full of child porn. First of all, they were not. We've actually digitally fingerprinted every single video on Pornhub, whether it's in their public or their private section. Had we seen child pornography, we would have reported it ourselves. That's number one. But when
We're
all
not
of
letting
that
them
was
off the hook about other things, though. But
no, but yeah, but just on this particular topic, you know, we publicly said if Exodus Cry or any of these companies that are fundraising on this topic really want to do something about it, we won't charge them. We'll digitally fingerprint that stuff and scour the internet. Guess how many of them reached out?
oh no, I'm sad. What?
Zero. Not one. Because you can't fundraise if you've got a solution,
Oh,
in my opinion. That's what's happening.
oh, see, mind blown. Okay, well, I'm gonna remember this. Anybody I ever meet, I'm gonna be like, no, you need to go talk to Reba Rocket. She's a superhero, obviously. Listen to her name, but that's huge. Not a lot of companies. I mean, we didn't get to go into too much of the misinformation and the information, but it's a thing. A lot of people just assume I can't do this. I don't have the resources. No one's going to believe me. You know, you know, people will talk themselves out of a lot of things, but
we'll do that in part 2.
Yeah, definitely. I would love to do anything I can to help people know that they have this resource. That's huge. Okay, last one, and then the shameless plug, because I amuse myself. If the internet right now, or piracy and copyright infringement, if it had a condom style warning, right, like can cause the, you know, you do this wrong, you're going to get an STI. It had that kind of style warning. What would be the warning?
It would be, this will be pirated.
Yeah, with the big little yellow exclamation point. I see it.
Yeah, you create the content, it goes on the internet. It's almost assured thing that it's going to be pirated. Yeah.
I like this, Erica.
And it doesn't matter what kind of content it is.
No, it doesn't.
Will get pirated.
Yeah. No, just like you were saying, people do like an Instagram and all of a sudden somebody's made a fake Instagram. You're like, what? That's a whole other episode. Oh my God, this has been so eye-opening. Thank you. I think so many people know piracy exists, but they don't fully understand the emotional impact or like what it's doing to not just their business, but the business itself, right? It's not protecting any creative work, period. So before we do the final wrap, kiss condoms, tell everybody where they can find you.
Okay,
we're gonna work on part 2, but like, hey, if you want to reach out, how do we find Reba?
Thank you. So there's a couple places. I'm actually hard to not find because I'm really the only person with this name, and I'm on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. I'm everywhere. The main website is TakedownPiracy.com. We have a platform that is specifically designed for independent content creators, like the OnlyFans types of content creators or influencers or smaller, like very small studios, called clipcentury.com. Not century, not 100 years, century, like, right, clipcentury.com. I think that, also, if you're a content creator and maybe you don't have the wherewithal, our Clip Century service is only $150 a month, and that includes all of our services, including the digital fingerprinting. But if you're just kind of starting out, you don't really have the wherewithal yet, we're also the DMCA service for clips for sale. So anything that goes on clips for sale gets digitally fingerprinted, and we monitor and issue notices for that. And you can even report your own infringements through Clips for Sale API. You
guys are busy. Like, I thought I was busy, but you
Girl,
guys
I work 7 days a week.
Oh, I mean, well, you look good doing it. Well, huge. Thank you for that, finding me and giving us your time. And Reba Rocket is now the superhero. I'm gonna go out there. I'm gonna get a little avatar right at like my next show. I'll be like, do you need help? Haha.
Can I have a cape?
Yes. We'll do whatever, right? We'll figure this out. We'll make her to your liking, or like a button. I'll be like, I can help you if you have these problems. Not really, but I'll send you to my peak.
I really appreciate you having me on the show. It's an important topic, and it needs to be
really
talked about more. Yeah.
Oh, no, thank you. My dogs are yelling at me, so I'm going to go assist. But if you missed any part of today's show, the YouTube is going to have it here in a minute, and I'll do my best to go post the links here. but Reba found me on Facebook, so you might also be able to find her in the social media world. Slip into her DMs.
I am everywhere at Reba Rocket. LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, Blue Sky. I'm everywhere.
She's everywhere. She's everywhere. Find
or
her.
you can just you can email me, Reba at TakedownPiracy.com. And I give my personal cell phone number to every single one of my clients. Every single one of my clients, because I think if you need help, you should be able to get a hold of a human.
You know what? I have to clap for you on that. 100%. I feel like a couple weeks ago, I just spent 3 hours of my life just trying to find a person so that I could actually get help on the question I needed with insurance.
Were you in AI hell?
I was in triage hell, I think, right?
I had an entire
talk to the other person about this, and I have a reference number. I just need somebody with the brain to put the things in.
I had an entire text conversation with my esthetician's clinic, and it was AI. And I kept thinking, why aren't they getting it? And then I was like, son of a gun, it's AI. So I was like, I need a human. It's like 20 minutes back and forth, the whole conversation.
I know, but right, make sure you're hydrated and you're doing A+ content, and you look good. You have time to work out. You made cooked meals, and you responded to all your text messages.
Yes.
The burnout is real, but if this episode taught you anything, or you felt a little empowered or inspired, I would love if you would share it with somebody who needed to hear it. I think protecting creators shouldn't be optional. So you know what? Let's bring more awareness where we can.
And real quick, my consultations are free, and there's no obligation to join our service. If you just have a question, or you're not sure about something, or maybe you're with a service and you're not sure about something that's going, just reach out to me. I make time for anybody who needs my help.
And there's not a lot of creatures like you left in the universe. Thank you for doing what you do.
Thank you.
We'll see you next Tuesday, guys.